We are sitting here with Fostoria Eric Keckler, who's got 60 days left in office.
Yes, sir.
Are you
60 days.
excited?
Yeah, but there's still a lot of projects that we're trying to get buttoned up and ready for the next administration, and still things we're looking at to apply for that just try to make the community better, even on my way as the end of my term.
Even on the way out, you're still fighting like you were in day one in
Yeah,
office.
because if I didn't care about this community, I wouldn't have started this
Projects.
12 years ago, and and I think contrary to what you may have heard, where I've checked out, I've been going right at this from day one, and I haven't stopped, don't intend to stop until the very end.
Good. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is a really cool project that is happening in the city is the splash pad.
Very exciting project, and the support from the community, businesses, even agencies from outside the city contributed to make this splash pad happen, and it's just been overwhelming, the response from businesses and individuals in the community that want to see good things happen for the youth of this community, and that's a big thing.
Right. And so the splash pad was an idea. You took it to your committee of people and you said, how can we do a splash pad? And it took a really good private public partnership to get this going. And one of the things we need to highlight is that you collected $274,000 from local donations. That is amazing. And if we break it down, ODNR provided 400,046 into the project. Hancock County Findlay, which is great to see an out of community donation, donated 25,000, and amongst other local donations as well, and those totaled 274,000. So that is great to see that community coming together for this project.
Yeah, and the state of Ohio capital budget was part of this, $150,000. So yeah, we wanted to have a splash pad with a nice restroom facility nearby. I think we talked about this in city council meetings, but I don't know that everybody had heard. The pool and the bathhouse were all built in the 30s. So in order to make the bathhouse ADA compliant, and some of the things that would have to go into that we were looking at almost $1 million for that. And the pool itself and its condition, even before we had to close it due to the finances, it was in pretty bad shape. And it was at that time when we had a company look at it, it looked like up to $2 million to make that happen. So we were looking at nearly $30,000 to $50,000 just to run the pool every year when we first closed it, and so that's a pretty big strain on the city's financial budgets, especially general fund, which we were having a lot of issues with at that time. And so at some point we had to make a choice, because pretty much the only thing left in the general fund are our safety services, police, fire, EMS. And so some things had to give. And so unfortunately, it was a pool plus all those repairs that we would have had to put into it. The nice thing about a splash pad as compared to the pool, there's not that same amount of money that it takes for it to operate on a yearly basis. And it can run from Memorial Day through Labor Day if we wanted to. Because the issue we would have in the past is trying to get lifeguards and keep them through the entire summer. So when there was a pool, we could really only run it from like June 1st to maybe that first week in August.
Because everyone goes back to school.
Everybody goes back to school, you lose all your lifeguards, and it was really, an impossible task to try to run it any longer than that. So with the beauty of this is we can run it the whole summer, and if there is a longer summer, we may not have to close at Labor Day. We can decide when we want to close it and winterize it, and start it back up the next year.
And the cool thing is, the original goal was 200,000 to build a little splash pad. But you almost got over $1 million in donations. So now that redesign phase of the splash pad, you was able to add more features and do a lot more with that, which ultimately ended up with the final plan of the splash pad beach theme.
Yeah, because we wanted it to be unique to the area. We didn't want it just to be, just water coming out of little fountains in the ground. We wanted to have features, toys, for lack of a better term. I always wanted a bucket that would dump on the kids, and we wanted to have just fun features to keep kids entertained the whole time that they're there.
And the cool thing about this beach theme is, my opinion is, a lot of people can't leave the city. They can't go to the lake. They can't go to South Beach, South Carolina. They can't go to Florida because they can't travel that far. They don't have the means or the financials to do that. So in order to be a little kid, you can come to the splash pad and have a semi-theme of a beach.
That's
like
it.
you were.
We wanted to bring the beach to the kids that couldn't make it to the beach, and that was one of our conversations. We went and visited the people that do splash pads. We started thinking about a theme. We all, almost at the same time, came up with the same thought. It needed to be a beach theme. And so I think we're going to bring that here. It's going to be pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting. And press release just came out, finalizing the plan, releasing to the public, which is a really, really good press release. And one of the questions that came out of that was vandalism. What is the city's plan to help protect the splash pad from vandalism and security and safety of everybody there that would be enjoying the splash pad or trying to ruin someone's good day at the splash pad?
So part of the thing that we've discovered is that the more lighting you're able to have, because we had the issues at Jackson Park, we had, thanks to AEP and cooperation with them, they added more lighting down there, and then with lighting we were able to have cameras that we can see what's going on. And I know we've had conversation to not only just tape things, but to have it live where maybe somebody at the police department can see what's going on in real time. And so these are all the conversations that we're having to make sure that the splash pad, or at least to do our best we can to make sure splash pad doesn't get vandalized. And then in conversations with the splash pad people about what the surface is going to be like. So that's all about the safety of the kids that are going to be there and the comfort of the kids that are going to be there and the people, people visiting. So all those things, along with the cameras and the lighting, is going to make it, and for what we see so far, a really fun, safe experience for everybody that goes there.
Good. And the cool thing is, this is just the beginning of lots more projects that are happening in the city that your administration has been working on for the past 6 months, years prior. Again, things take time. So someone comes with you an idea, you look into that, and you try to move forward with that idea. Because, again, we work with government. It's a slow-moving process, but there's a lot of entities, a lot of things that go in place into making these projects happen.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to fund them, and part of making these successful projects are those partnerships, and the people that are bringing, their expertise and whatever, anything that they would bring to the table. And then working together in these partnerships to build a coalition that can help with the fundraising piece and the grants writing piece and all those kind of things that make a project successful.
And the cool thing is, this project is just the beginning. And how does this project align with a broader vision for Fostoria development and community initiatives with the splash pad?
Well, part of if you look at what we had submitted when we submitted for the state money was the bigger picture of trying to tie like Portage Park to the walking trail at Reservoirs 2 and 3. And so even though that's not something that that maybe not be the next piece, but tying that all together, that it eventually would go from Portage past the city park and the water park area, and then over to the walking trails, biking trails at City Park. So it's part of a bigger vision that we could maybe even grow from there at some point. But this is the area that we're concentrating on right now because it is a real popular area. Kids are down there playing basketball all summer long, and there's a lot of kids down there all the time. It's not in the plans right now, but we'd like to see at some point improvement of what the skate park is from where it was when it was created over like maybe 20 years ago. And so, yeah, more to come, but not just those parks, but other parks as well. Because we're talking about pickleball courts still and how to improve those and some things at Portage.
And
so
the disc golf is pretty popular in Fostoria.
Yep, we're trying to get to a point there where that disc golf course is a really nice disc golf course, and then the partnership that we have, it started out at Foundation Park as a lease agreement with the Y and the foundation, helping to fund the renovations and the renewal of Foundation Park, and they did put a lot of money into the ball fields and brand new concession stand, and then in that partnership, the city was able to get the restroom facility through an ODNR grant, very similar to what we did at City Park. And then we now have a management agreement with the Y, so they manage Foundation Park. We take care of utilities and insurance and still the amphitheater. But we, most recently put a new roof on the amphitheater and did some improvements out there. So that came out of us putting that into the 5-year recovery plan and the city council agreeing to it. So we just continue to make these improvements, and they may be one at a time. We're just trying to make the best with what we're able to get through, either putting it into our 5-year recovery plan and our budget for the following year, or go after grants, state funding, whatever we can get to just make life better here in Fostoria.
And that's the ultimate goal, is to make life better. What also do you think with the splash pad would also bring in terms of economic and social benefits, having the splash pad available here in Fostoria?
Well, I think just from the aspect of the quality of life issue, where you have something for kids to do all summer long, and that's just we have right now, or at least for the last several years, have had that summer playground program that meets at either our park shelter, which we provide for the kids to be there 2-3 days a week, however that works out, and like we'd already talked about, the basketball courts, and just continuing to add to those pieces in the park to make quality of life better for Fostoria, makes it attractive for people that may want to come here to move, because now we have more and more things for kids to do in the parks.
Correct, and that's always been one of your administration's frustrations, is people say there's nothing for kids to do. Nothing for kids to do in Fostoria, and they vandalize, and they destroy things. But you were listening, and you were actively listening, and you were working with all the private public partnerships. Even you went talked to Gary Click for this money. You talked to Gary Click about other capital projects. You talked to Bill Reineke. So you're working with people outside the city of Fostoria as the mayor, trying to lobby and advocate for money for the Fostoria for these wonderful idea projects that you have.
Yeah, all these things just enhance the quality of life here in town. Try to bring money back from the state to here that folks have already paid their taxes to the state. Try to bring that back in the form of grants or capital budget plans, or anything like that, just to continue to make things better and better.
And any final note about the splash pad you'd like to say, that you're just more, besides you're so excited for this to happen?
We're very excited about this project. I think it's going to be a great addition to Fostoria. And I think, I know there was a place in time where we didn't have a lot of money. We weren't able to do things, but the citizens of Fostoria agreed to to renew those tax renewals and that 6 mil levy that now allows us to do these things that we couldn't do before. And so now that we can do them, we're going to do as much as we can with the money that we have, try to be good stewards of the money, but also just return that investment that citizens made in Fostoria so they can see good things happen in Fostoria. We can fund our safety forces and still have fun things for kids to do in the park. That's a big deal.
Correct.
But it wasn't all that long ago where we were in some financial distress, and that's why a lot of things weren't happening. But as soon as we're able to get things straightened out and people help to pass those levies and renew them, then we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and now we can make these things happen. And that's all thanks to the support of the citizens. So this is a return on their investment in their own community, and also us trying to bring tax dollars back from the state to make good,
And that's not,
to make good
that's
things
not
happen.
easy.
It is not easy, and it's very competitive.
Very
And,
competitive.
and we've been pretty successful thanks to, well, of course, Renee's work down there as a grants writer, but the relationships that we keep with our state representatives and our state senators, and we do keep in close contact with them, and that investment in just relationships have paid off as well.
And the cool thing is, you talk about the tax levy, and that passed, and Fostoria was very generous with it passing, and it passed very well, is not just the parks that are improving, but this year alone, there's been so many cool projects that are either starting, been announced, or have been completed. And one of the biggest tasks was County Line Street a couple years ago, Lytle Street this year. You are very actively trying to repave the state routes in the city. And for the people that don't understand is the state of Ohio, ODOT, has a 3-year budget. So they plan things out 3 years in advance. But you've been talking about repaving County Line, Lytle Street for over 5 years. And this is a 5-year plan.
Well, we had, so it took a little while to figure out exactly how to get on, I guess crack CODOT's code in order to make some of these things happen. So once we were able to make that happen with County Line, then we continued that relationship with ODOT District 2, but we also have ODOT District 1 in Lima that we also deal with for like most of the western part of the highways. So 613 going out, 12 going from the Seneca-Hancock County line, that's ODOT District 1. But we've had a great relationship most recently with District 2. We're able to put a plan together where the state will be back in 2025 to pick up where they left off there at mid-block, go east on Lytle Street, out 23 South to the city limits. That one's going to be the ODOT's urban paving plan, which is an 80-20 split between ODOT and the city. The city has 20%, but we also have any concrete that they need to find too, or need to fix as well, which is either under the pavement or like they did on this project out here on South Street and Mid-Block and Lytle Street, any curbs, any sidewalks, that all comes at the city's cost. So we're estimating that next piece in 2025 will be around $750,000 for Fostoria's cut of the project. So we started saving probably 2-3 years ago for that project in particular. And I think we're in a good shape now if we're able to continue that savings program where we can get that done in 2025. And then either probably most likely in 2027, maybe the next year, but to continue on east on Lytle Street and out Route 18 and to fill in some of the other gaps like on South Street between Wood and County Line and get all those repaired. There was never a plan for that before. We weren't on ODOT's list before, but now we are.
And that's due to your relationship and trying to work with ODOT District 2.
Yeah, we continue those conversations. They've been here. They've already scoped out when they came here to do this project that they just did this summer out here on Mid-Block and Lytle Street. Then we had the next conversation about the next piece of it. We've signed some documents about that. So I know probably in '24 though, the ODOT will come and ask for at least some of our portion, maybe all of it. So we need to be prepared for that $750,000, and then we'll see that project in 2025, and that'll be a big one. And then we just continue those conversations and that relationship with District 2 while keeping in contact with District 1 so we don't get behind on those other highways that go out west of Fostoria, out 613 and Route 12 to Findlay. But yeah, there is a plan in place, and things are looking good for that paving as well.
There was something else I was going to say, I forgot. Paving? What, downtown? No. What other big project happened this year?
We have, we were able to secure the grant for that overpass over.
Oh, the overpass,
in the
yeah.
Iron Triangle.
Okay. So the overpass was announced earlier this year. Huge, huge benefit to the city, not only for emergency services, because, I mean, you don't want to call 911 and there's a stopped train and they can't get to you. That's very dangerous for them to get out of the ambulance or the police car and try to go over the rail tracks. And again, don't play on the railroads. But that was a huge project that you've been working on for a very long time, and it was finally announced, and it took a lot of work to do that.
Well, it's interesting because that is something that the city, and I know other city leaders and city councils have tried to figure out how to solve that issue with getting people in and out of there, getting emergency vehicles in and out of the Iron Triangle. And so most recently it did start as a conversation with CSX about closing the crossings there on Columbus Avenue. And so my answer to that was, we have enough trouble getting emergency vehicles in and out of there, getting people out of there when the trains are blocking all three crossings. And so the conversation eventually turned to, what would it take? And the answer was an overpass in order to get people in and out of there. So again, we started eventually building that coalition of different agencies. We brought Renee, our grants writer, in, the Ohio Rail Development people, CSX, NS, ODOT, all coming together to make this project happen. And it did take some time, and it did take really that it was relationships built in the past that paid off, but just showing the safety need was really what helped pay off. And our timing was just right. That was one of the things we talked about, because when those federal dollars became available and then other entities were able to help pitch in, and we were able to announce that grant funding to make that happen. Now we still have some work to do because there's still design work that needs to do, and you may not see that project come to fruition for maybe another 2-3 years, who knows? But at least we know that that's coming.
Right. It was secured.
It's secured. The money is secured. It's going to happen. It's another very exciting project that we know is going to happen. It's something we've been wanting as a community to happen forever. And thanks to those partnerships, we're able to make it happen.
And the good thing is, you talk to anybody down there in the Iron Triangle, which is the Iron Triangle part of Fostoria, where all three sets of tracks meet in the diamond formation. So for people that don't understand the Iron Triangle, that's basically what it is. Everybody that lives down there is probably more than likely really excited for that announcement.
Yeah, because they're at mercy of the train schedule, and if there's trains stopped or moving slowly, where all three of those crossings, Town Street and either the north end or the south end of Columbus Avenue, they're locked in there, and there's no way to get fire apparatus, ambulances, police cars in there. And so that's exciting news to know that that's coming for that neighborhood down there in the Iron Triangle.